Most people think about money, and I think it's knowledge, and to create something with yourself, to understand that you have to take certain sacrifices and certain steps in your career. And sometimes you have to shut up, listen, and adapt, write down your goals and ambitions, and move forward.
Welcome to Heart Inspired, the show dedicated to highlighting individuals in their pursuit of authentic leadership. We peel back the layers to uncover the roadblocks we all face, explore the actions we can take, and how to persevere toward the best version of ourselves. I'm your host, Michelle Delgado. In this series, my guests will share how they pushed through the pandemic and other challenges to turn their vision into a reality. Their stories will inspire you to leave self-doubt behind to focus on your goals. Today, I'm sitting down with David Aucoin, a 23-year veteran who started at the young age of 19 years old. Throughout his career, he has held many positions, climbing the corporate ladder, ultimately preparing himself for his current role as the Chief Vision Officer and President of DM Hospitality. David says passion is the key to his success in the hospitality industry. For the past 6 years, David has become a business owner, sharing his vision with his entire team, and each day they embrace his style of leadership. He has been a recent recipient of the 2022 Traveler's Choice Award. In addition, David's properties continue to be ranked highest in star indexes and revenue within the hospitality industry. Hi, David. How are you?
Hey, Michelle. How are you?
I'm great. I am so excited that we are talking today. We met just a short while ago on LinkedIn, and, your story and the article that was written about you definitely intrigued and piqued my interest. So I welcome you sitting down to me to talk about your successes. Before we get into some intriguing questions I have for you, tell me a little bit about you and how you all started in the hospitality industry.
Great. Well, I wanted to say thank you very much, Michelle. You've definitely intrigued me, and definitely a spark within the sector here. In hospitality is definitely my biggest passion, and I really appreciate the kind words and our calls in between of getting up to here. So I guess started my career around the age of 19 years old. It's a funny story because I didn't really have a lot of jobs beforehand, and after I went to hotel management, I really wanted the calling in the hotel industry. I was always a people person and always related or could break ice with people, and so I thought it was a great industry to be in because it was all about people. And when I was 12 years old, I was a ski instructor all the way up to maybe I was 20, 21 years old, and won several awards there. And I think it was called the Merit Award at the time. And it was just such an awesome experience to teach and to lead at such a young age of being a ski instructor and being in a leadership role of teaching people how to ski. And I guess it kind of transcended to the business world. I'll never forget the roots and the most memorable hotels I worked for within Canada and across North America. The first hotel I've ever worked at was the Sheraton Parkway, Toronto North. It had two hotels. It had the Best Western and it had the Sheraton, and together or combined, they had 440 rooms, and I believe it was 35,000 square feet of meeting space. The general manager there is Suzanne Marshall. To this day, I guess 23 years later, she's still there. I still talk to her, and she still doesn't understand how much she meant to me, wanting to be a leader like her. I started in reservations for this 440-room hotel. The process of getting the job was quite funny. I don't know if we want to get into that, but basically everybody in that hotel knew my name because every week I would go there and drop my resume off. I wouldn't go to any other hotel. I was actually a little resilient little bugger back then too. And it was so close to my parents' house, right? So it was so close, and it was the biggest, and I thought it was the best because it was the biggest. I liked the culture there. So every week I would go in there and they'd say, "Hi, David," and I'd come in with a new suit, or my mom and dad would help me with buying suits and stuff like that. And I would go into the hotel, and everybody would say, "Hi, David. Hi, you're back here again." I'm like, "Yeah, I'm trying to get a job." And and then I finally met with the HR. I think I'm not too sure if Suzanne would remember or not, but I think it was Sheila King or Heather King. I'm so sorry, but I'll never forget her if I met her in person. But because I had several interviews with her, and just things weren't working out, but I kept on coming back. So then one time I was there and I was talking to the concierge because it's a full service hotel, and all of a sudden the HR person comes, Miss King comes in and says, "Hi, David," and it just like knows my name right away and says, "You're here again." I'm like, "Yeah, well, I really like it here. I don't know what it is, but I'm here." And my parents were like, "You can do this, and like maybe you should go to another hotel or something," but I never did. She goes, "David," she goes, "I'm going to lunch right now. Can you join me for a second?" I'm like, "Okay, sure." And then we just sit down and she goes, "Okay, so what would you like to do?" And I said, "Excuse me, it's like, so does that mean I have a job?" Like, I didn't know what to do with that because I just was friends with everybody and became friends with people. She goes, "You know what? You're something else. You have like a great personality, and why don't you come with me?" And we went to reservations. And so I really wasn't good with computers at the time, and like I couldn't even find the bloody queue, to be honest with you. But I said, "Oh yeah, I'm great with computers. I'm fantastic. Yeah, oh, I'm the best. I can type so fast." And so I met this wonderful, wonderful woman. Her name is Jennifer Hartwell, and we called her Mom. I don't understand. She's just such the most beautiful, well-hearted woman, caring. I don't think in 1999 or 2000, empathy and the leadership and stuff was really connecting at that time. I think we've come a long way.
Yeah, not like it is today. Yeah.
I don't think she realizes how smart she is. She is still there to this day, and I gave her a big hug actually last week or the week before. I was here and I had a meeting in Richmond Hill. That's where they're located. And I stopped in to say hi to everybody. It meant a lot to everybody too, because I think I made a long-lasting impression, and I respect everybody in that hotel. As I started the job, and I got nervous because you had to switch like tab to Best Western and do their system, and then switch tab to their Sheridan, and then you had all these questions and answers you had to give, and I didn't even know what at the time. I was just a junior driver. I didn't even know what CAA discount was at the time. So people would say, "Do you have a CAA discount?" I'm like, and then I would put them on hold. I'm like, "What is CAA? I don't know what that is."
So you were learning with your feet in the fire, huh?
So then the worst thing happened where I broke down to my parents and I told them I need to quit because I just don't know what I'm doing. I don't understand. And I don't think I gave myself patience or the credit to calm down, but I decided that I was going to resign. I'll never forget when I went to Jen Hartwell and I told her, "You know what, this hotel is amazing. I really wanted this job so badly. And it meant so much to me to have this opportunity. And I'm sorry, but I have to resign as I really don't think I'm connecting with it." And it was just so difficult because there's such a high, in our hotel industry, either you got it or you don't. It's either it's fast paced, can you keep up with the fast pace, or you can't. And I didn't want to impede their abilities to have success. And that's just the person I was. So I was so nice to her. And then she broke down to me and she says, "David, stop. I believe in you." And it's just like, I couldn't believe it. She says, "I believe in you. Give me some time and let's see where you don't understand things and let's get you to where you be." Well, holy crap. It meant so much that somebody, had empathy. And I said, wow. When I got back home and I told my parents, I tried to quit and they didn't want to fire me. I don't get it. Like, I don't, what's going on? So they're like, "Okay, we'll go. Like, you got to try, David. Like, this is the real world. You got to try." It was about a month later. I was like 6 or 7 months straight consecutively salesman of the month. I got a check for, I think it was like $5,000 or $6,000 from SPG, from Starwood Hotels. You used to get incentive back in the day, so I was like making money. I was like, "Oh, this is awesome." And I think within 8 months of me being there, I got promoted to business sales coordinator, director's assistant. I just blossomed.
So you were on your way.
I was flying. I didn't care about the money.
Yeah.
Most people think about money, and I think it's knowledge, and to create something with yourself, to understand that you have to take certain sacrifices and certain steps in your career. And sometimes you have to shut up, listen, and adapt, write down your goals and ambitions, and move forward. And at such a young age to adapt at that, I just had that focus. I really, really loved the atmosphere and the culture. And even, Suzanne Marshall, the general manager, the meetings that she would do, even with the whole entire hotel, of what the culture and what she believed in and the vision. And I was just amazed as a woman of the power that she had with her ambiance and the annual events that we did and the public speaking she did. She was so poised, so passionate. And it's just like, I loved that taste. It was just so nice and so powerful. And I just wanted to work and show her I could do it. Although we were in separate departments and she obviously was the chief commander of the whole show, I never really reported to her. But at times, I did skip her and go to the owner to get some checks to be signed and would speak to the owner and speak to Isidore, was the corporate lawyer, and really kind of connect with him and try to pick their brains a bit. And then sometimes Suzanne would be in and say, David, I think you need to get back to the office.
That's a great start to your career, for sure. You had a lot of great mentorship and people who pushed you.
Yeah, I was very sad to leave, but I knew that I needed a little bit of diversity of growth, of being a manager.
Yep.
I needed to take steps. And I think I was 23 at the time. And then I became a regional sales manager for Westmont Hospitality, which I think it was the largest in Canada, if I'm not mistaken. They had like 1,100 hotels. They're just some monster. My dream was like, okay, if I can do this in a regional manager, I mean, I can be a director. So I wanted to be a director of sales. And then I was a director of sales for Choice Hotels for another company. And then I got an email or a call from my previous boss. His name is Van Corick. And sorry, Van, to put you on spot here. He's actually now a general manager, I think, for the Cosmopolitan downtown Toronto, and he's a great guy. I flew around with him all over the place. He was so fun. He's so fun to work with. He was all about the people. He's all about the sales, but he loved people and he loved to have a good time. And he reached out to me and he said, David, there's this director of sales job. It looks pretty big with an American company called Extended Stay Hotels. I have to be honest with you on the call. That's when my life changed.
How so?
I thought I was really poised and really good at what I did. I really thought that I was something and I could do anything. I could just change the landscape of this business. I mean, I was such a young director of sales at the time, and I did this deal with this car. I gave a free car, or I convinced the dealership to give me a free car to do this Canada's Wonderlands package, and it was on the hoist inside of our hotel and stuff. It was just amazing little things that I thought I could gain exposure and a wow factor to people, And so Yvan told me to find this job, and there was like 100 or 200 applicants. They actually rented out Dave & Buster's and had all these people, and I was like dead last. I was like the last one to come in, and I was nervous as anything. And then this is where my life changed, where I met my mentor to this day, and one of the smartest persons I've ever met in this business, Peter Burkhead. We met, and he goes, "You're David." I said, "Yeah." And it was the fastest interview I've ever had in my life. He goes, "Well, I've been waiting for you. You're that guy at the Comfort in on Woodbine there." And he goes, "We came in there. I don't know if you remember me." I'm like, yeah, I remember you. He goes, "That was the first time we were looking for the right candidate for our company. And you're the only one that followed up with us every other week."
It kind of reminds me of when you went to the Sheraton with your resume every week.
Same concept, right? Same concept, but just different aspect to receive what you want. Right?
Yes.
So he said, "I've been waiting for you." He goes, "Can you drive me back to the hotel?" I go, "So does that mean he goes, "Yeah, you got the job." He goes, "Can you drive me home? Can you drive me back to the hotel?" I said, "Okay." So then you had to do like all this aptitude test, and you had to give like I never did this before. Even at the Sheraton, you didn't have to do this. Like you had to do all these things and background check and everything. It was like, oh. And then I find out later that Extended Stay Hotels is the largest corporately owned hotel within all of North America at 685 hotels. And we had 3 hotels in Canada, which was in Vaughan, Ottawa, and St. John's, Newfoundland. Man, this guy was just, I thought he knew everything, and boom, you think you know and you don't. So inspiring, so amazing. He was very rough around the edges. If we went to a restaurant and bread wasn't on that table and warm water wasn't there, I feel very sorry for the servers because
Oh,
he
that's
just blasted.
unfortunate.
Yeah, he was really type A leader. He just no BS with this guy. He just had a vision and he had no time. He always had a notebook. He had always calls and he had everything calculated. And it was just like, come here more often from Texas and just let me be a sponge. Everybody saw the negative part of it. I just saw something beautiful out of this guy. And the hotel that we had or they purchased in Vaughan had 189 rooms. And at the time, they had 5 to 6 sales managers and coordinators to funnel this massive organization of 189 rooms. I was it. They let go everybody, and it was just me in the sales department.
Wow.
That was it. It was just like gulp.
Yeah, right.
But I guess if there's too many eggs in the basket and the balls aren't falling in the basket, then maybe there's too many balls in the air, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, I guess I was I think I was about 25 or 26 years old, and I was probably the youngest director of sales in the company. And annually, I was doing over 5 million in sales. I was top 3 or top 5 in the company out of 100 directors. They flew me over, I would say weekly over to Ottawa. I would stay in Ottawa, fly back for 9 months, helping out the Ottawa property. We would all be sending lead generating, and it was an email company. The emails were like 200 plus a day you'd have to do. And if you didn't send your reports by Friday on Peter's time, then you don't show up on Monday. It was very strict. So not like today where it's like, oh, are you feeling okay because you didn't send that? But it's okay. You can send it to me on Monday. It's fine.
Yeah. A little bit more compassion takes place today.
A little bit more. But I guess I learned how to build a business. I learned how to engage with people, and Peter's policy was very strict. And he flew me over to Texas, and I did an 8-week course, and I'm actually certified sales trainer with integrity selling for the 21st century. If there's any advice or compassion or passion that I could put out to leaders, to new salespeople, to even operators in operations, there's a book called Integrity Selling for the 21st Century. Their business model is AID Inc. It's spelled AIDINC. And the acronym or the words or the definition of that, it breaks off into approach, interview, demonstrate, validate, you take the I and validate, negotiate, and close. And you had to do examples for 8 weeks straight on approach. How did you approach? How did you have that rapport? How you connected? And then an interview. What were your interview questions? Did you do mole? How many? How often? How long? Did you understand their business? Where's their headquarters? It's so beautiful how this is. And then to demonstrate of what the products we have. We did proximity analysis that I could map out across all of North America with one pseudo city code, and I could map out all of our hotels and give them on a dime per location exactly where it was. And I had, like right now talking to you, I had goosebumps because it was such a great company that you could actually have all fulfill the needs and expectations of that client because we were so big of a company, and we focused on 14 to 21 days stays for large projects, likes with Costco and Walmart and stuff like that.
So you actually learned to adapt to some technology there, which you didn't have.
Oh yeah. I got into it. Oh yeah. If you talk to me now, I can type faster than probably a lot of people in the world right now because.
Oh, that's a relief.
And even on my phone, I can actually type without even looking at the keyboard on my phone.
It's a good skill.
Yeah. So I've definitely learned to adapt here, people. So. And then there's validate, where it's validating what their needs and expectations were, and then obviously there's a little bit of a negotiation that you would have to do to give them 8, 10, 15% off, whatever it was, or possibly something more fixed. And then the closing is just sign, seal, deliver, and that was Peter. I still have the book to this day. It's something that I pass on to a lot of individuals, including my own general manager, where I bought him the book and told him to read this back and front. And it's something I really believe and part of my core values that I really took off from there. In 2008, Michelle, if everybody remembers, probably all the business owners and people abroad in business know that we went in through a huge crisis and a recession. Knock on wood, that doesn't happen this year or next year, as they're looking at that now. ESH Hotels filed for Chapter 11 bankruptcy. They also got bought out by, I think it was Lightstone, which was David Lichtenstein at the time. Extended Stay Hotels was owned by Blackstone, which Blackstone owns Hilton Hotels.
Yep.
And I think they bought them around 26 or 27 billion at the time. And they're a lot more than that now. I think that when we look at big things like this, there's a lot of change, and they didn't give bonuses, unfortunately, to us. They didn't have empathy for all the hard work we've done. And Peter, he was looking at retirement. My mentor was gone. Changes that I really thought on a leadership role that people took things a little bit too seriously, or maybe a little bit of aggressiveness to individuals. And I didn't like the new, the new operations individual. I won't name his name. He really made a bad impression on me, and Peter really didn't. He kind of agreed with me as well. I decided to leave and branched off to a company which I loved. It was Stay in Hospitality. We had about 4 or 5 hotels at the time. We grew it up to 7, flipped a couple of hotels, and that was a difficult story to get the job too. I won't go into detail with that. But it was kind of the same, but at a more higher level. Definitely, one of the hotels was looking into bankruptcy as well, and I changed the hotel within 1 year. We built a Hampton Inn by Hilton. I fell in love with Hilton immediately. I don't recommend this to individuals, but I've never been fired at a job, but I've always left if I have stopped the learning curve, if you would say. Yeah. And I would always find a job first, people. I would find a job first and then make my move that would benefit myself, whether it's financial, whether it's growth or whatever it is. And I wanted to be a vice president just like Peter. And when I resigned from Extended Stay Hotels, the best thing in respect that I have ever had in my entire career, not even with Sheraton and everything else, which I still respect the Sheraton, don't get me wrong. There's an industry leader that is a mogul in this industry and a pioneer. His name is Gary DeLab. Gary DeLab was the president and CEO with Extended Stay Hotels. And when he saw me that I had resigned, on my last day, he actually called me on my cell phone personally. He told me out of his 10,000 employees, this is a mega company. He said, David, he goes, what you've done for us in Canada, and for me putting you on a plane to helping all of our North American hotels, I want to thank you for what you've done. I want you to blossom and reach as any goals that you can in this industry, and I know you can do it. But I want to say this before I leave, David. I'll never forget this. He said, as long as I'm president and CEO with Extended Stay Hotels, there will always be a job back for you. And it was just like, oh. Like, yeah.
Little guilt, maybe?
Yeah, like, ow, damn it. And I think every job that you have is an education and risk on the employer side and on your side to either you get it or you don't. You want to grow, you got to learn. But in order to learn, you've got to work. In order to work, you need to have a foundation of people around you that enables the exact same passion that you have and the knowledge that have. And if you are the smartest person in the room, there's something wrong.
Yeah.
There's got to be always somebody smarter than you that could lead you. Maybe it's your attitude, David. Maybe you need to maybe you need to tone it down a little bit like Peter, maybe you're too much like Peter, and maybe the world is changing, and then you got to adapt.
Yeah.
So I became vice president of sales and marketing with this company, Stay In, and loved the ownership, loved the vision, and then boom, we built this brand new Hampton, and I was just like, I could do this. It's like
you took off from there. Yeah.
Yeah, you start from zero, and that was it. And the one thing I got from Hilton Hotels, I tell you, that they really, if anybody works for Hilton, they really care about their culture and teach owners how to create culture or create what their core values are of the brand. I think all brands do that with Choice, with everybody, but Hilton has this one thing with Hampton that has resonated me, and I have it posted at my front desk, and people need to read that every time they come into the hotel. And it's FACT. It stands for friendly, authentic, caring, and thoughtful people. And I have completely changed and have complete empathy and only hire people within our company that enable FACT. We can train the skill, but we can't train the personality. So if we focus on the personality trait and try to think FACT on each time, and during the interview, whether it's myself hiring, whether it's my general managers hiring, we always mention FACT and let them know what our core values are and what our mission is to have a great environment and culture. Because it mirrors what we do at the front desk or housekeeping or maintenance or all of our departments of how the guest full experience is going to be. That's more or less what our culture is now. And I'm very proud of where we've come from where I was from 1999 to 2000, all the way to 2022 to 23 now coming into it. And I think we've come a long way in the industry. I think we've come a long way with the corporations. I'm sure there's people that kind of aren't crossing that silver lining of kindness or acts of kindness or having that empathy, but and still in that corporate atmosphere. But loosen up a little bit.
Oh, that's awesome.
It's okay to loosen up a little bit once in a while and have a little bit of fun. Because if we're not fun, how are we supposed to move forward?
Exactly. So David, you mentioned quite a few different heroes or mentors in your story. Share a little bit about some of your childhood heroes. Who was your childhood hero?
Well, if we're talking about person and not kind of movies and stuff like that, say that it starts with your parents, right? If you don't respect your parents or respect yourself, how do you respect others?
Wow, awesome.
I was kind of a difficult kid. I was always wiry. I really don't drink coffee to this day. I'm naturally like this.
Wait a minute. You're naturally this excited?
Yeah. It's true story. Yeah. And so it's hard to really, reel me in because I was so kind of ADD and all over the place. Tough to handle a guy like me. So I had to go into a lot of sports and, just my parents mean a lot to me. I love them very much. And they actually are the ones that chose my industry. We didn't come from a very wealthy family whatsoever, but they were very strict on going to school, get an education, and get the heck out and blossom. And I come from a pretty hardcore family. My mom is actually half Ukrainian. My dad's French, and my mom is she's just a bulldozer. She's just a bull that she's always a lioness to us, and will a protector, a provider for us. Maybe a little bit too much at times, but we needed that. And I really think that they became both my heroes because when I was a very avid skier, they saw something with my personality trait. And, God bless them. They're still alive today. My mom got through cancer. She's 76 now. My dad had a couple of strokes and a couple of scares, but I make a point to call them and message them. It's hard to see them a lot because my sister just had a baby. They've been minding the baby. We're very family oriented, but they chose my hospitality career. So I have to put them as my hero because they just said, why don't you go to hotel management and try to do something, David? We don't know. They're very, very proud. And So when I purchased the hotels and I became a partner and owner of my own company with my partner, who's Manny Sahi, who I respect tremendously and give as much gratitude as I possibly can and respect to him, as he believed in me to partner with me. And I knew what I was getting myself into, as I'm more or less the hotel guy. He's the investor, but he still had to believe, still had to be on the phone 10 times a day with me, go through things with me, because I wasn't going to do it alone.
Yeah.
Although I was at the hotels and going there and doing stuff, he was always supporting me anytime, always constantly. We would evolve, and we would, we didn't want to spend money, but we would spend the money. And he's so brilliant. We're so exactly the same, except I love, he loves the trucking business and I love the hotel business. And I try to, take care of all the hotels for us and try to do the best that I possibly can. In 2019, we were trying to buy this Huntsville property, which we ended up doing, but it didn't go as planned. And Manny was with his family and took a picture of this hotel and said, "Hey, do you want to buy this hotel?" And I said, "Okay, okay." And we looked at it, and I was like, "You know what, Manny, this could be something big. I can do this. David, it's too far. Manny, I will live there. I will do something great with this location, with this hotel. I will get it done. Just trust me. I'll get it done." I lived at the hotel for 2 years, sacrificed everything, and but it came something so brilliant, and we ended up still getting the Huntsville property as well during COVID. It was kind of the worst and the best situation at the time. And sorry, I'm going a little bit off. I know you're asking me about Hero. Now I'm going off a little bit.
No, that's okay, because it sounds like he is somewhat of a hero. You both are very visionary, so that's great.
He is 100%, and I was going to allude to that. But Manny is 100% a hero of mine for believing in a non-owner, in a non-equity partner. Of course, I had to invest, millions of dollars, but like I had to earn that respect from an owner, and he was the only one that did that.
That's awesome.
So we're partners today, and we've been partners for quite some time now. I'm pretty proud of the scale that we're going. The last hero would be Peter, because without him, I don't think I would have this backbone, because I'm not saying I like to pick a fight or I back down or anything like that, but I enjoy a little bit of the tussle, if I could say so. I don't mean to be overzealous with it or anything else. It's just that I've been through hell and back. I've been in this business for so long. I know it inside and out. And it's hard to be challenged when I know that you are right. But it's important to walk away, even though you are right, for the proper reputation. So at times you have to kind of put the brakes on, and sometimes I don't know when to do it, and sometimes I need to just breathe and know that you need to sometimes walk away from stuff for your own credibility, for the future of going to different brands and keeping with that as well. So
yeah,
but it's really changed, because there's a lot of, obviously, bad experiences that have happened with other brands, and experiences that they just didn't know maybe who I was, or misrepresented myself. And it's okay. You can't win. You can't win everything. As long as you're winning with your employees and with your guests. Those are things that really matter, right? And especially the heroes that still respect you to this day.
Yeah.
I'm sure Peter is extremely proud of myself, and Manny echoes me all the time. And it means a lot to me for Manny, because he's a big fish in Canada here. And he's got, we have multiple properties and lands, and he has a very large trucking business. He has over 100 trucks. It's M&M Carriers. If anybody, needs logistics, look up M&M Carriers, and a little promotion for you there, Manny.
Yeah, there you go.
And those would be the three kind of heroes. And I guess when I was a kid, on a fiction standpoint, I always loved Christopher Reeves.
Oh,
and,
Superman.
I think, I feel like I'm flying, right? So,
awesome.
I really loved Christopher Reeves. I thought he was an amazing actor. I thought he played the role of Superman amazing. And if we look back now, where my legacy is now flourishing in Niagara Falls, the largest property that we own, which is the Comfort Hotel in Niagara Falls at 132 rooms. One of the biggest scenes in Superman was Niagara Falls. So go figure that I'm saving myself from, COVID and everything else that happened, and flying through the air to conquer great things and
That's
ambitions
awesome.
and my of being a hotel owner. So
That's great. I have a couple more things that I want to ask you. Your stories are I can just listen for hours. But I do want to ask you, when we first met and spoke, and it was about the article that was written, and you had won a Traveler's Choice Award, which congratulations to you and the hard work that you and your team have done. You said, "I'm just a small crumb." And I thought, what? Come on. Are you comfortable with all your success?
I guess if we can talk about one of the greatest basketball players of all time, Kobe Bryant, I think everybody can relate to this. When he was asked, when he was 2 games up, "Why are you not smiling? You're going to win. Why aren't you smiling? What's going on? What kind of mood are you in?" Bluntly speaking, his response was, "Job not done yet. Job finished. Job's not done yet."
Wow.
I love this job more than anything in the world. I don't picture myself as just the owner. I'm an employee. I'm not done yet. To be a great leader, you have to humble and come back and put the employees first. And I'm not going to leave until I can give somebody a torch and somebody a flame, because I never had that opportunity until I met Manny. And somebody needs that opportunity to have a guy like me to go to housekeeping, to go to maintenance, to go to front desk, to mentor our general manager, to make everybody aware of nothing's impossible. So when I say I'm a small crumb, I don't think I'm there yet. I think I have a lot to adapt and learn, because now is the real business. I really enjoyed my career of being a sales individual, and I would consider myself an elite sales individual, but I love operations now more than anything.
Yeah.
Because you can command everything better, and you can lead, and you can still lead sales. You can still, get into the negotiation with alignments and partnerships and everything else. But I just love everything about it. And once you love something and have compassion and empathy for others, sky's the limit.
Yeah.
Sky's definitely the limit. So I guess I am a crumb. I am someone that's small, but I'm one crumb that won't be swept away.
There you go. You shared an amazing story, and for our listeners, I would love for you to share it again, about your general manager and the comment he made about your leadership.
This was a first. I hope that my general manager, his name is David Way, young guy. He's got his MBA in operations, been in the business for 10 to 12 years. I don't know if he did had a break. Maybe he was a consultant for 1-year contracts, because sometimes GMs do 1 years and stuff like that, and fully have to adapt to the owners and maybe have to respect what their dispositions are and their visions are. Sometimes we go too much, where we don't allow our general managers to have no boundaries and to kind of fail to succeed sometimes. I shouldn't say fail, possibly fall a little bit. When I'm there at the hotel or any of the hotels, I always make it a point to make some sort of motivating, inspiring thing, or have strategic meetings in place and just move mountains. You got to keep on moving and pushing.
Yeah.
We were doing these campaigns and stuff like that, and things were really, really going amazing. And he couldn't believe on how the hotel went from this occupancy to this occupancy like that. He couldn't believe it. I told him in February, to overhire, and I approve it. I approve it. The wave is coming. I don't care if we have 28 to 29% in labor costs. Something is going to happen, and we're not going to be ready. Get it done.
Smart.
every step of the way, he agreed and he agreed and he agreed, and we did all these great things. We never skipped a beat. We were cash flow positive since February, and it was January, February, March, and just coming into April, it was closed. Canada was closed, and we were just doing these amazing things. And the rest of the hotels didn't enable in the market. Our competitors didn't have that vision and were spiraling out of place. They weren't getting the business because they had to put rooms out of order because they were too late. By the time March came, we had like 25 employees. As of now, I think we're in June?
Yeah.
And we have 42 employees for this hotel right now. After I think I put in a whole brand new laundry system to make sure that if we did have employees, I think we spent about like $80,000 or $85,000 in laundry. So we got 3 new machines for this 132 room property. It was a little bit overkill, and 3 50-pound dryers. We connected with Ecolab, and I think we went with Aucoin, which were just amazing for all their support and how fast they were to adapt and to get me the material fast, because material obviously was really, really hard to get. And just David is just like, what else is going on? Like, what else are we going to do? Like, this is getting crazy now because we're doing all these things. And pulled me aside one time, and this is where I think he doesn't realize how he has humbled and changed me as an entrepreneur and leader, of really opening my eyes up of how you can change a person in many different ways. I want to say that I've been working, for 10 to 12 years. I've worked for many different owners, and by far, David, you are the most inspiring, amazing owner I've ever met. And I feel that I should be paying you and not you paying me. I had to hold a tear on that one. And because it means a lot to me to lead and command with a strict disposition on what my vision is. And I guess that's why I changed my title to CVO, as I don't think I'm a qualified CEO or even know what a chief executive officer is, but I know what a possible chief vision officer is, because I just want people to follow my vision. He changed me that day, and he definitely touched a couple of chords that I'm doing something right. We had this new employee, and she's actually from the Ukraine. She's been in the business for 2 years, and she came here, and she felt uncomfortable at first because she needed a job, but then she wanted the right people, and it was hard to get her it's always hard to convince somebody to come into your habitat and your culture. And,
sure.
So she pulled me aside yesterday while I'm doing the landscaping outside or putting the waters on. And she just said, David, like you have an amazing company. Everybody is helping each other, the culture, and your general manager especially. He just helps everybody with empathy, and it just meant so much to me that we really need, as leaders, to really adapt and learn on how we can change the landscape of people's personality traits, just to be kind and have empathy and actually change that into engagement and knowing the whys. And I think that if leaders today in this society that we live in, if we teach why we do each thing, people won't quit because they understand and get it. Yeah. If they don't understand why we answer a phone like this and go through all these steps, it's so tough, but it's no.
And it seems like your team is definitely on board with what your vision is and following your leadership. So, congratulations to you, because during this time, we see a lot of companies that struggle with that. There's the great resignation that happens, and we're hearing great resignation, great reinvention, and great innovation. Or it's just kind of refreshing to hear that you as a leader are doing such great things and that your team is on board with what you are doing and your vision. I thank you for that, and I applaud you for that. The work may not be done yet, but you are definitely on the path of continuing good work. So That's awesome. So my last question for you before we wrap it up, what's the vision for the rest of the year or 2023?
Well, we're in Canada here. We're worried about the talks of the recession right now. I think our governments did a wonderful job on our inflation here. We're not going to get out of this. This is it's going to be very difficult. It's going to take probably 2 to 3 years for things to come back, because even as entrepreneurs and owners like myself, when we buy assets, we kind of look for the best interest rates as well from institutionalized banks, and the percentages are just going higher and higher. And I would say I'm forecasting probably by November, December, rates to climb to 6 to 7 to 7.5% just for commercial. So that kind of makes me a little bit nervous wise on how I can grow the company, and if I can, refinance the hotel and to grow and to buy more properties and to, continue the legacy and going forward. But as of right now, I think the main focus right now is to maintain a strict disposition of what is working now, and to build a proper team that fully understands the whys, the visions, and to continue to coach. I wouldn't say that I'm a helicopter, maybe I'm a helicopter dad, maybe.
Well, we'd have to ask your kids that question.
yeah. But I guess if you would say if a owner, is either an investor or a hands-on entrepreneur, I would be the hands-on.
Yeah.
And I guess in certain aspects, if I'm at the front desk and I'm there and I hear something, I guess that helicopter me does come there. And I guess I can give you like one example of how you can be positive and give positive helicopter attitudes, I guess, to your or I don't know what you would call it, but anyways, so that we have a new employee, and the guests come in as a walk-in. She didn't know it was a walk-in, and she asked, and then she goes, "Oh, well, we need a room for tonight." And then right away she gave the rate, because she felt confident of the renovations that we did and everything. So I'm in the back. I immediately put my phone down, and I come out of the office. I greet the guests and introduce myself, and I just ask to politely, can I please have my associate here for a moment? I just have something I'd like to discuss quite quickly. I apologize for any inconvenience. So I come back with our employee, and I let her know this is something that I have to stop you with, and it's not a part of my vision. You must engage with the guests and ask them where they came from. You have to give all the benefits. We spent over $3 million in renovations. We have refrigerators, we have microwaves, we have a full hot American breakfast that we went over and beyond the brand standards. How do you just give a rate without allowing yourself to have that great first impression and give that to the guests? And I said, look, I'm here at the front desk. Why don't you engage completely with them and show them a room and go through what I've just stated, and when you're done, let's see what the outcome is, because they were ready to walk out. So she did that, and she came back. And if I could have a video camera and a microphone on the wow of these guests, they actually not only said, like, this is an amazing hotel and such great service, but they didn't stay for one night. They stayed for 2 nights. And she came back to me and she said, I get it. I completely understand what you mean, and I'm sorry. I guess that's just part of training and development in a positive way. Yeah. Maybe, the old David or the Peter would be like, what are you doing? What are you like? This is not right.
There's an opportunity there now to maybe reinforce that, so that they're not in that situation where it's a stop and retrain and then react again.
Well, it has to be regimented, right? It has to be regimented. It has to be kind of monotonous, that this is what you do. Right. This is the why. And this is, like if somebody came in and they left, or they called, but we went through everything, at least we made a life outstanding first impression that we have this, and this.
Right.
Because sometimes in the other hotels in Niagara Falls, they rent their microwaves, they rent their refrigerators. They don't have it, and it means a lot that we have these, and the guests need to know that.
Yeah.
And why rates are such and such, right? So
Yeah.
the one takeaway, I guess, would be they know that I will always back them up and always give the correct answer that they're looking for, whether it's from my GM, whether it's from my housekeeping or laundry. I'll always have it for them, and then we'll follow up with a memo to make sure that everybody understands.
Yeah.
And communication is the key to our leadership.
Well, David, I just want to thank you so much for sharing your story. I applaud you for all the great things you're doing. You're coming up in the hospitality industry. As you know, I've been a 25 plus year veteran myself, and probably closer to 30 years. I worked on the TMC side, so I know what it's like to have that empathy for your fellow, and it's all about what you do to serve that customer. So I applaud you, and I want to thank you so much for being my guest today. We really appreciate you, and all the best of luck for the rest of 2022 and beyond.
Thank you so much. It's been a great pleasure to meet you. You now have a new friend for life.
Yes.
And and thank you very much. And please keep in touch. And thank you for everyone for giving me the opportunity to maybe listen to this whole podcast. And maybe if you got something out of it, it means a lot to me. And anybody could message either Michelle or myself or DM me directly, whether it's on LinkedIn. We're always here to inspire others.
Be well.
Okay, thank you so much. Take care.
Tune in next week. Thank you for listening to Heart Inspired. I'm your host, Michelle Delgado, and don't forget to lean in, be heard, and be inspired. This podcast was created by Heart Metrics Consulting, editing and co-produced by David Castle Productions, and co-distributed by Business Travel 360. For more information about Heart Metrics Consulting, visit us at heartmetrics.com.